My name is David Fletcher. This semester is the second time that I've taught English 11. One of the decisions I've made when planning this course out is to not give my students tests or a final exam. My top priority is that the students aren't anxious or stressed about English class. I love English, and that's something that I want to encourage my students to do as well. The new curriculum provided avenues for me to do that. The first time I taught English 11 was to use the projects associated with each unit of study during English as the final assessment piece. I found that I could not be certain that students weren't accidentally engaging with some of the components of, say, the storytelling unit. If there was a symbol that I could find in their story, I wouldn't know if it was intentionally there or not. So the second time around, teaching English 11, I developed a reflection tool using the big ideas and the core competencies to create sort of a grid where students can fill in the cells of that grid with work that they have done in English class. So I sort of translated those values and those priorities and those core competencies and distilled them down into language that we had been using in class. So for the storytelling unit this time, teaching English, I have a reflection tool that has as its criteria, as its core competencies, the idea that the stories we write have a purpose, that there is some work that that story does and it has value for the reader in hearing it and for the author in writing it. I have that we create an emotional core for our story, that we can actually be expressive, and we have different techniques to create an emotional core for a story so that the reader is taken on some kind of a journey to an emotional place, and that a character in the story is changed, their worldview changes, and that idea of an experience and a conflict changing someone is part of that learning process, that part of that growth that is central to language arts and the reason why we tell stories. Those are values that I hold very dear when looking at storytelling, and that I think is the main crux of why we need to teach storytelling in all its varied forms. And I was able to take the new curriculum documents and use my class as a filter to then create an assessment tool that I think will check in with the students about how they are feeling about those three components and how they can tie those to the stories that they've written. So when they reflect on those three components, they can add number references, and then they put those same number references onto their stories. So it's on the reflection tool and it's on the story that they've written, so that they're tying those things directly to work that they've done. My hope is that this allows me to feel confident about what parts of the class worked for them and where there are concepts that we still need to address further. I do encourage them to advocate for their grades, where they think they're at and where I think they're at. So I try and create an environment where they feel okay doing that, where they feel safe doing that. And so hopefully we're on the same page about what their grade is by the end of the semester.